Ahava, blessings, happy full moon in the sign of Aquarius. This is a very powerful full moon, even though it's a very interesting full moon in Aquarius because it's not aspected by any particular planets, but I will get into that. For those that don't know me, welcome and hello. My name is Aurea. I am an ordained Magdalene priestess, a Reiki master energy and sound alchemist. And in this video, we're going to talk a little bit about the energies of this full moon in Aquarius. This full moon is happening on the heels of the Lion's Gate. And I speak about the Lion's Gate and I go into further detail as to what the Lion's Gate is and isn't, as well as the energies of this full moon in Aquarius in my podcast episode. And there's a full sound activation, so that is linked below in the description. However, this is a little synopsis. This moon is happening at 16 degrees. That is the number 7. 7 is a number of initiation. It is a very powerful number associated with Mary Magdalene, but also associated with spiritual wisdom. Aquarius is the water bearer. It symbolizes in Kabbalistic astrology the gardens, the waters, because it's the water bearer, the waters of the Garden of Eden. And it is aligned with vibration, with frequency, with the collective. It's about the collective, and it is about ascension and mastering frequency and mastering our ability to understand our energy. And on the heels of a Lion's Gate, which is the number 8, amplified by 2, so 8-8. This moon is not aspected by any other planets, but there are other planets forming two interesting configurations, two double kite formations. And the thing about these double kite formations is they have an opposition. And the opposition is the tricky bit to maneuver. The easiest thing to remember during this, well, we have 4 planets, 5 planets retrograde, as well as this moon, and geomagnetic storms are happening. So the energies are very, very intense. And so the easiest thing to remember during this time to learn how to navigate this energy is to remain in your heart. And I share a whole video that is linked below as well, where I share practices to help you align with your heart, focus on the breath. Because whenever we get stressed out, our nervous system just begins to go on overdrive. And whenever our nervous system is triggered, it's pretty much a recipe for disaster. So we want to remain in our heart. And this is why I am playing the F and F sharps. This moon is deeply aligned to our mission. It is aligned to our purpose. It is aligned and it is calling for us to cut the nonsense, to really allow ourselves to exercise our wisdom and hone our wisdom and hone our discernment. The shadow of the age of Aquarius, and this is a full moon in Aquarius, is that of emotional disconnection, which we can see with social media, because social media kind of allows us to connect with each other, but also to say things and behave in manners that we normally would not behave in if we had a person face to face. So it's a double-edged sword. So with this energy, with the Aquarian energy, there's also the shadow of dictatorship, of thinking that my way is the only way. The moment that we think that our way is the only way to do things, we are automatically going into separation. And separation, living in duality is what Yeshua considered sin. It's not any of the other things that we've been told by dogma that is a sin. True sin, according to these ascended masters, was being separated from your true nature, from your true self, from your soul, and from the divine. And we are living at a time where we are the most divided and the most disconnected, particularly because we have lost touch with ourselves, lost touch with our wisdom, lost touch with our soul, and that we are all infinite light. We are all aspects of the divine, and we are all actively co-creating our reality. So as such, during this time of incredible disconnection, it is important for us to be aware and remember that the antidote to the ego is to be willing to go within. It is to go into the heart, to live as an expression of love and of union, and do your best to create unity where there is none. And do your best to avoid falling into the traps of duality. The other shadow of the Aquarian age is the false teacher. And as a student of Aramaic, as a language, as ancient language, as a student of Kabbalist teachings and Hebrew and ancient Christian mysticism, I was raised Buddhist. My family has a Catholic upbringing. My lineage is Sephardi Jewish. So it is very important for us to understand that every tradition has its expression that we see and its true expression that we often don't see. The more that we stick to the surface, the more that we are going to be easily blinded and misled by that which is the shiniest, the flashiest, the newest, has the most engagement and following on social media, whatever. And all of that is fluff. It's absolute fluff. And if you've taken any of my classes and if you've done any sound healings with me, you know very well that I don't do fluffy. I go deep and I take you with me. And then we go out on the other side, because that is simply my way of being. And it is the way that I can embody the true nature of the mysticism that I embody and the wisdom that I am bringing forth through my vessel. And each one of us is here to birth and create and embody our own wisdom. And this full moon allows us to actually see and align with that wisdom that exists within each and every one of us. When we are in fear, when we are in duality, when we are in guilt, in shame, in judgment, in resentment, in anger, when we are in any of those dense frequencies, all we are doing is adding to the divide, adding to the separation, not only from one another, but also from our soul and from our light. And our light is what we are here to embody. It is not only what we are here to receive. We are here to embody it, and we are here to generate more of that light through our actions, through our thoughts, through our words. We are in the Aquarian age, the age of the Holy Spirit, the age of the Shekinah, and this is a time when it is all about energy. We are just beginning to understand that everything is energy. Every cell in your body is vibrating. In this very moment, the waters in your vessel are being charged with whatever you're nourishing it with. Are you seeking wisdom and truth? Are you nourishing it with your alignment to your soul, to the divine? Or are we just going through life allowing randomness to come in and distort our vessel? It is up to each and every one of us to decide where we fall and what we align to. Because whatever we do every day, whatever thoughts we have going around in our heads, all that becomes the frequency that is imprinted in our energy field. And that frequency, that energy that you hold, begins creating. And then we don't like what we see. And then we want to get mad at the messenger, and we want to get mad at the mirror. And by mirror, I mean the other people around us, because we are all mirrors for one another. And we want to get mad at the reflection. However, it's not the reflection. It is you. And that it is you is not a judgment. That it is you is an empowering notion. Because when it is you, that means you can change. That means that it is up to you to decide to do a 180 and behave and embody a different frequency. And yes, it's not easy. However, we can do it. And we do it by learning how to master our energy. And we master our own energy and our own frequency, because this is the full moon in Aquarius. We're talking all about frequency and energy. We master our own frequency and our own energy by learning how to be the observer of our mind, by learning when we are triggered, not to just fall into a reaction, not to burn things down simply because we are triggered, because that's probably not the best thing to do under most circumstances. Sometimes you do need to burn a few bridges, but it's oftentimes not necessary. It's only the ego, the lesser self, that thinks it is necessary to burn everything down. The higher self knows that there is a better way, and it is that better way that we can embody through practice. And you can choose sound healing, you can choose mantras, you can choose mudras, you can choose movement meditations, breath work, going for walks in nature, working out, whatever it is, yoga, whatever it is that feels good to your soul. Just set the intention to make it a spiritual practice. And how do we make it a spiritual practice? We make it a spiritual practice by setting an intention and by sanctifying it, making it sacred and holy. And the act of making something sacred and holy, it sets it apart. Doesn't make it better, but it shows your commitment to aligning with your soul. And through this commitment in our everyday actions, in being intentional with our words, with our thoughts, with our actions, knowing that they are the frequency that becomes cemented and imprinted in our field and then in our lives, then we can begin to course correct where we need to, where we see that maybe things are a little bit off. And it's easier to course correct if we can take a breath before we act than if we just react automatically. It's easier to just slow down, take a breath, come back into the heart, and then move from a space where we are not at the mercy of the lower emotions. So in the next video, I do share some practices and some mantras that allow us to align with sovereignty, with embodiment, with our heart, opening the heart, clearing the channel between the waters of your womb, your sacred space of creation that men and women have. It's just in men, it's energetic, and the heart space. And during this time in particular, it is very, very, very important for us to come back to the heart. We are in Leo season. Leo is the lion, the king, the lion of Judah. And Leo season is all about the heart. Leo is a generous energy, and it is the energy of unconditional love. So allow yourself to tune into this energy and allow it to guide you into deeper union with your heart and with your soul, so you can once again, or for the first time, begin to fall in love with your incarnation and with your soul, with your embodiment and with the divine. Come back into union with your soul and the divine. Have a blessed full moon. Ahava.